We know for a fact that there are other kinds of worlds that are possible, but the question is, how do we get there?
We have social movements fighting for tenants' rights, against police brutality, for racial justice, and all these other different things. And frankly, a lot of the left-wing media that exists now and left-wing magazines, although they have some very good coverage, don't actually talk about the stuff that's happening in those spaces. They don't talk about workers' cooperatives. They don't talk about tenants' unions.
There are many heterodox economists in this day and age who simply don't have a platform.
And a major shortcoming of existing socialist magazines is how little they talk to the workers involved in essential areas of production: manufacturing workers, agricultural workers, care workers, and technical workers like supply chain managers and programmers. If a socialist future still needs to coordinate complicated supply chains, we need to have that expertise.
It would be nice if there were a space that not only covered what was going on the ground, but also theorized it. Like, how do you make these things? When does it work? When does it not work?
We don't want this magazine and the ideas in it to just exist on paper. We want these to be things that we can take out into the real world and do things with, and see our successes and our failures, and to refine them and build them over time. But critically, it has to live out there in the real world. We have to do the things that we're talking about in this magazine, not just talk about them.
Strange Matters magazine is a workers' co-op. We all have equal ownership and control. We think that workers' self-management is integral to socialism, any definition of it.
It's a long-form magazine which moves from political economy and technical essays through to artistically inclined essays and journalism, with a resting spot in the middle called the futon.
For the first issue, we've put together 300 pages that we are incredibly excited about.
The definitive take on MMT.
A profile of Robert Evans.
I'm also very excited to have that piece on Fred Lee.
And also an essay that recognizes just how integral the cooperative economy has been in America for over 100 years.
And the unspoken history of how much of that has been driven by the Black communities in America.
As a non-expert of economics, I was blown away by Steve's inflation piece.
We've got reviews of a whole bunch of stuff, everything from cyberpunk works of art to Barry Jenkins' film to the essays of the notably degenerated Wesley Yang.
When we publish economic ideas in our magazine, we're going to do so starting from first principles which are grounded in evidence. If our economics section succeeds, then what we hope it will show is actionable plans which people can implement themselves and see whether or not it really works.
We're trying to present economic theory that's open source, that can be implemented, used, adjusted, that we're not precious about, that just has to be a reflection of reality. Like our economic theory, our political theory is also open source. We align ourselves currently with libertarian socialism because it's a model of political organizing and structuring that makes a great deal of sense to us. But there's not really perfectly cohesive agreement about what that means, even within the editorial board.
I think that it's really important to understand that when we call ourselves libertarian socialists, we're aligning ourselves less with a set of rigid political dogmas and more with this proud tradition of people who are against all forms of hierarchy, authority, and domination, who struggle for the kind of egalitarian freedom that can only exist when everybody self-determines together as a community in a direct democracy.
We don't want to build socialism so we can all just live on the assembly line all day, every day. We want to create socialism so that all of us are empowered to take on new things, to explore new endeavors that bring beauty and meaning and delight to our lives and to the lives of others.
Capitalist society edges out spaces for new and challenging art, journalism, and scientific thought, right, and philosophy.
You can't just have something that is there for the sake of being there, or because it's nice, or because we like it. It has to in some way generate money, generate profit, and there aren't that many spaces left in the world that aren't subject to that.
Simply put, we like nice things, and we want to build a better future that includes them.
The Zapatistas told us a long time ago, another world is possible. Otro mundo es posible. And you know what? I think they're right. But the fundamental question is, how do we build that world?
It's comforting to believe that our leaders and existing institutions will do what we need them to do to save us. But it's more realistic based on their inaction to our biggest problems like climate change that we'll have to rely on ourselves.
Very few people in left spaces, for all their virtues, are actually making a concerted effort to build these tools.
And when we say we should build our institutions, we literally mean us, we the workers. If you really believe a better libertarian socialist society is possible, one grounded in democracy, then talk is ultimately cheap. Put some skin in the game and build something. That's the ethos of the magazine project.
We're a magazine that believes ordinary working people can run industry. But to help prove that to the world, we need your help.
Please consider donating so that we can bring this project to life.
Thanks so much for watching, and we look forward to getting the first issue out to you very soon.